you so much, sir, for joining us today. And if you could just start with.
मैं तो ये सोच रहा था निपुण amongst Maman Rani sir, Kiran Bedi ji, sister Shivani, why have you called me, bhai?
Sir, I mean,
Frankly, it's a business thing which I run. I don't know anything else.
sir, I feel principals are like the CEOs of the school. So who better than you to tell them about your journey? So if we could hear about Havells' journey and your journey at Havells.
Well, I don't know how many of you know that Havells is not a German company. It is an Indian company. It was founded by my father way back in 1958. My father came from Punjab from a very small town called Malerkotla, and he became a shopkeeper for electrical goods. Bought the brand of Havells. So Havells was already an established brand. He bought the brand in 1971, and from there that journey started. He started manufacturing switchgears and electrical products, selling across, made dealer network. I joined after my education. I joined him in 1992, which is almost 32 years back, and so it's been a long time. It was a very small company at that time. I think our turnover was less than 20 crores. When I joined, I came back from the US, and since then it's been a very exciting journey. What makes me proud is that my father was a devout Indian and always believed in the power of India. And this electrical industry over the last 25 years since the Indian economy opened up in 1992. In fact, the year when I came back, that was the time when Indian economy opened up. And all the large multinationals of the world were coming into the electrical industry, coming in India. And at that time, all the companies, electrical companies of India, they got sold out to these global multinationals. Whether it was GE or Siemens or ABB or Schneider, and there was practically no Indian company left by the year 2000. And at that point of time, it was always a thought ki kya karna chahiye? Should we sell out to some large multinationals or should we sustain? And we realized at that point of time, if we want to sustain, if we want to endure, we need to invest heavily in our own R&D and our own manufacturing, which is global scale. So to cut a long story short, 25 years later, we are not only the largest electrical company in the country today against all the multinationals, but also every product that we manufacture and sell is made in India, developed in India. We don't import any technology from abroad. We have more than 1,000 R&D engineers who develop right from a miniature circuit breaker to an air conditioner, and we sell products all across the world. So this is a proud moment. I think, this is a legacy which my father wanted to create, and we have carried it forward. So I just feel very proud of that. So that's been a little bit of a journey which has been there for the last few years.
So looking back, do you think, is there anything that you would have done differently, or are there any regrets?
Dekhiye, life is such where, you're always faced with options and choices on a day-to-day basis. If I start thinking of what choices I should have made, I should have not have made, it would be 2 or 3 books I would have had to write. But the fact is that whatever choice one makes, and especially an entrepreneur, whatever choice one makes, one needs to make success out of that. There is no right or wrong answer in business. There's always, you weigh the decision. And people think, when we do our MBAs, we think that there is a black and there is a white and there is a right answer, there is a wrong answer. And pardon me, in our schools, we are always taught, either you get the right answer or you get the wrong answer. But when you come to life, you realize that that is not the way life runs, that is not the way businesses run. There is no right or wrong, there is always a gray in between. and the ability of an entrepreneur to choose the right thing and then to go after it and to make that decision what has been taken to be the right decision and keep adjusting in between if it is not working. That's the beauty of, and that's what I think, schools and colleges in India especially, because at least when I was growing up, there still used to be writing where, the teacher could actually say, okay, this is my judgment, this is written right, this is written wrong. There was a lot of subjectivity. Today everything is subjective, everything is right or wrong. And, and that's why students get 99.9% or 100%. When I was a student, if you used to get 80%, that was like one of the toppers in school. But, this is something which needs to change. And I'm not saying this is to be changed by G.D. Goenka, but overall educational system in India. Because again, I'm saying life is not black or white. Life is always grey. And to answer your question, I have always believed in this fact that I have to choose, being a leader, I have to choose a decision and go after it to make it a success. Just like Kiran Bedi ji said, you put all your passion behind whatever you have decided and you make it a success out of that. That's what has been, like I said, 20 years back, people would have called us fools. Just imagine a scenario where world-class products were coming from Germany and cheapest products coming from China. India was somewhere in between. We didn't have the quality of the West. We didn't have the cost of China. We didn't have any products developed in India. And all the product technology was imported. So उस time जब हम लोगों ने ये decide किया कि no, we will develop the products in India. We will manufacture in India at Chinese cost at Western quality and sell across the world. So people used to call us mad. Why are you doing this decision? It's best to, आपके 10 साल के profit आपको कोई foreign company दे रही है, you go home and relax and play golf and go to Bahamas. But people called us mad at that point of time. But the fact is that today it is possible. So what you decide, what you choose to, maybe that was a wrong answer at that point of time. But at least my conviction said that this is the right answer and we had to put in all our efforts to make it a success.
Havells is I think a household name in India now. I can go on and on. In this room or in our university, there's so many Havells products.
नहीं, मैंने एक विप्रो का lighting देखी थी वहाँ पे.
No sir, there are. Believe me, I'll show you.
I think ये हमारी problem है, हमारी marketing ठीक नहीं होगी.
No sir. Also, I wanted to ask you, sir, how important is culture building in an organization, and especially in an educational organization, and how it flows from the top to the blue collar employee?
See, I think at least I'm saying every company, every household, every organization has a culture. Culture is something where, it comes from the value systems or the values of the organization. हम लोग जैसे घर में जब बच्चे बड़े होते हैं तो संस्कारों की बात होती है कि भाई उस फैमिली के संस्कार कैसे हैं, राइट? दोज आर द वैल्यू सिस्टम. व्हाट इज वैल्यू सिस्टम? वैल्यू सिस्टम इज संस्कार. तो आप कोई भी फैमिली को देखें, कोई बच्चे को देखते हैं तो कोई अच्छा बिहेवियर करता है, कोई अच्छा कल्चर दिखाता है तो यू से कि इसके संस्कार अच्छे हैं, राइट? और कोई गलत चीज़ कर रहा है तो आप कहते हैं कि इसके फैमिली से संस्कार ही इसको ऐसे मिले हैं. तो this is the value systems which a child is getting from a family. Similarly, in every organization, I believe there are value systems which comes from the top. So how the MD of the company or how the owners of the company or how the CEOs of the organization, what value systems are they bringing in and are reflecting that? आप मुझे बताएं कि घर में, जैसे अभी किरण जी ने भी कहा कि फादर मदर रोज़ ताश खेल के रात को लेट आ रहे हैं और कल सुबह वो बच्चों को बोलते हैं कि ये गलत है, तो बच्चा बिलीव नहीं कर सकता ना, तो बच्चा तो वही सीखेगा संस्कार जो देख रहा है, जो परसीव कर रहा है, जो उस घर के जो एल्डर्स हैं वो बिहेवियर्स दिखा रहे हैं अपने. सो सिमिलरली इन एन ऑर्गेनाइजेशन यू टॉक अबाउट कल्चर, it flows from the top, it flows from the value systems of the company. So for example, like in Havells, my father believed in certain value systems, right or wrong. It could be, you know, anybody can say ki these are right value systems or wrong value systems, but there was a value system started by Kimat Rai Gupta, and I believe that those were the right value systems for my organization. If I continue to behave in that manner, that makes the culture of the organization. So whether it is a principal of a school, whether it is the owner of a school, whether it is the owner of a franchise, whatever they reflect. And you know, I run an organization where now I have various CEOs running the organization. Whatever they see in me, they will obviously do the same thing in their thing. And that alignment of a CEO, to take your example, the alignment of your 150 schools, of their owners with your value system, of their principals with your value system is extremely important. People don't, you know, consider this. Why it is important? Because when a person from Havells is working, whether it is a worker in the factory, if the culture of the organization is to make a quality product, it has to be reflected by the worker of that organization. अगर वर्कर फैक्ट्री में क्वालिटी में बिलीव नहीं कर रहा है तो वॉट एवर आई मे फील कि भाई हमको एक क्वालिटी प्रोडक्ट बनाना है, अगर उसने नहीं बनाया तो जो प्रोडक्ट मार्केट में जाएगा वो क्वालिटी प्रोडक्ट नहीं हो सकता. सो इट इज़ इम्पॉर्टेंट फॉर मी टू ensure that the worker also has the same quality culture. If I believe that I have to be transparent to my dealer and to my customer, if I have to be honest to my dealer and to my customer, it is not important for me to reflect their behavior, because there are 10,000 sales people in the organization. They are dealing with the customers, they are dealing with their channel partners. If they reflect any amount of dishonesty or non-transparency, so what will it reflect कि यार ये इस कंपनी का कल्चर ऐसा है. अगर कोई आज हैवल्स का एक एम्प्लॉई कोई गलत जाके प्रॉमिस करता है या किसी कस्टमर को झूठ बोलता है, तो कस्टमर के दिमाग में ये आएगा कि इस कंपनी का, जैसे मैंने आपको बताया घर का जैसे संस्कार, इसके फैमिली के संस्कार ही ऐसे हो गए, इसी तरह इट बिकम्स कि हैवल्स का ब्रांड उस टाइम पुल डाउन हो जाता है. सो फॉर मी मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट थिंग इज कि द कल्चर दैट आई बिलीव इन has to be reflected by the thousands of employees in the organization, and it trickles down the culture from me to my CEOs, to their managers, to their factory workers, to their frontline salespeople. It has to trickle down. I can't, मैं believe करता हूँ frugality में कि भाई कंपनी में एक frugality होनी चाहिए. You know, we should believe in giving the best quality, best cost system. If I reflect, मैं तो घूम रहा हूँ कंपनी के खर्चे पे, पर्सनल मेरे आज कुछ भी हो, कंपनी के खर्चे में मैं घूम रहा हूँ प्राइवेट जेट्स में, एंड आई टॉक अबाउट फ्रुगैलिटी टू माई एम्प्लॉइज, इट डजंट रिफ्लेक्ट. पीपल विल से कि ये ऊपर ऊपर की बात कर रहे हैं. सो कल्चर इज एक्सट्रीमली इम्पॉर्टेंट, एंड आई बिलीव, यू नो, माई जॉब टुडे इज एक्चुअली टू कीप एमिनेटिंग दैट कल्चर in each and every employee of the organization.
Thank you, sir. Amrita?
Good afternoon, sir. I think one of the questions that we would love to hear a response to is, how do we teach adaptability in leadership? You know, that's something that you've experienced at Havells, going through so many transformations. So if there's something that we can learn as educators to try and help our students instill this, it would be lovely to hear your thoughts on that.
You talked about two words, adaptability and leadership. So leadership is a very big subject. First of all, adaptability in today's environment and in any environment is extremely important, because you know, the world is changing very fast, and in a changing environment you have to keep adapting yourself as an organization, as an individual also. Today, think about it as an individual. You know, I may say कि okay मेरे को technology का इतना पता नहीं है because my children are more adaptive to technology. But today if I am not aware of what's going on in the AI world or chat GPT, if I don't start adapting to the newer ways of the world, I'll be left behind. After 1 or 2 years, my children will start saying कि आपको ये भी नहीं पता है. So it's important for me, it's important for an organization to know what's happening around you and to constantly be on a learning path. Gandhi ji ne bhi kaha ki bhai at the age of 75 also he was saying I learn every day. Unfortunately, a lot of times adaptability wahi rukti hai jahan pe when I start thinking ki I know already everything. And unfortunately in our at least corporate world, everybody is an MBA now. And the full form of MBA is मुझे बहुत आता है. So the moment we come out of the MBA institutes, we stop learning. Because already मुझे तो बहुत आता है. So every day if we are not learning, we are not constantly learning from the youngsters. I make it a point that I meet youngsters in my company on a regular basis because they teach me a lot because what's happening in the world. The R&D engineers, the most successful R&D engineers in our department today are the youngsters between the age of 20 to 30 because they know what the consumers need. So adaptability is extremely important. Adaptability के लिए बहुत important है कि अपनी ego को set aside करके रखना है because and that is also a big difference between a manager and an entrepreneur, right? So but like a lot of people may say कि भाई मैं तो एक salaried employed हूँ, मुझे जो set systems दिए हुए हैं मुझे उसमें काम करना है. That is possible. Then you are a manager. But every salaried person can also be an entrepreneur by doing 2 or 3 things. One, they start thinking कि this whatever institution I am running, it is my own. I own the institute. I can take decisions what I feel is right for the institution. And secondly, entrepreneurs never have an ego. आप किसी ठेले वाले को देखिए तो he is actually अगर आप देखो कि जो ठेला वाला है मैंने कहीं ये सुना किसी से he is actually the best manager or the best entrepreneur. He has a complete supply chain department. वो सुबह 4 बजे उठ के मंडी जाता है. He purchases himself. He has the best finance and accounting system. He is the cashier himself. He has the balance sheet. He remembers किससे पैसा लेना है, किसको पैसा देना है. And he is the best marketer. He knows how to woo the customers, how to sell to the customers. And by the end of the day, he knows how to adjust the pricing of my sabzi also to ensure कि मेरी सब्जी जब तक मैं घर जाता हूँ तो खत्म हो जाए. सुबह मैं 6 रुपए किलो पे भी बेच रहा था और शाम को मैं 4 रुपए किलो पे बेच के. He is actually the best entrepreneur. But when we start getting educated, so called, we stop learning and we stop becoming adaptive to the environment. And that's where our egos start coming in. Because I am an educated person and that's a thela wala person who's not an educated person, my ego says I can't learn from that guy. So I think learning ability and killing ego is true requirements for adaptive thing. But talking about leadership, I think ये भी मैं कई बार बोलता हूँ अपनी कंपनी में भी कई बार लोगों को बोलता हूँ कि sometimes this leadership is also misunderstood a lot. What is leadership? Leadership is, there was a great leader, Mahatma Gandhi, who could influence 35 crore people at that point of time in India. And then there was a leader called Hitler also, right? And he had the masses behind him. I mean, till 1942-43, entire Germany was behind him. He was also a great leader. Mahatma Gandhi was also a great leader. But their intents were different, right? So, leadership is not just about, able to influence the masses, but also having the right intent. But the first quality is also to, be first of all followed by the masses. Now, there are 2 ways to be followed by the masses. One, you are a manager. You are the CEO of the organization. Everybody has to follow you. That's one way to be followed by the people. The other ways to be followed by the people is that you actually, people really want you to be the CEO, not because of your position. They want you to be the CEO because you mean good for them. You mean growth for them. And that's what, people like. And that's when people start following ki yaar, my CEO is a great CEO, he's a great leader, I want to follow, or she is a great leader, I want to follow that leader. So mass following by people because they want to be led by you, that's real leadership.
Thank you so much for that response, sir. I think one of the pieces that you have talked about has really resonated, setting aside of the ego. That to us is like an indicator of self-leadership. And you speaking about it today at this stage is very important for us. Thank you so much for saying that.
इसमें मैं क्लैरिफाई कर देता हूँ. देखिए घर में तो वैसे ईगो ही नहीं सकती. घर में तो ईगो हो ही नहीं सकती, राइट? जब घर में ईगो नहीं होती है तो when we go to the office तो तभी सारी ईगो निकल आती है क्योंकि घर में चलती नहीं. तो the thing to remember is कि जब मैं ऑफिस जा रहा हूँ तो भी मुझे अपनी ईगो वैसे ही असाइड रखती है जैसे मैं घर पे रखता हूँ.
Okay.
But that, and a lot of times, a very close friend of mine, and he runs a very successful business. I learned from him. He runs a business worth maybe 100,000 crores. He's the MD of that business. And he says, every day I come to the office, I open my drawer, और उसमें एक उसने slip बना के रखी हुई है अपनी. And उसमें उसने अपने हाथ से लिखा हुआ है, you are the biggest fool. So he said, I read it every day that I am the biggest fool. तो पहले आते ही मैं अपनी ईगो खत्म कर लेता हूँ because then I start learning from other people. कि जो मेरे रूम में आ रहा है वो मुझे कुछ सिखा के जाएगा.
Wonderful example. Sir,
So our generation, and I'm seeing a lot of young entrepreneurs, they're always chasing numbers. And I think you've achieved most of the numbers people have in their minds or whatever. So at what point do these numbers stop, do they really matter after a point? And do you think that's the answer? Is bottom line the only answer in life, or it is beyond that? Because you've achieved it all. So what would you like to say?
देखिए,
True answer.
हाँ, ट्रू आंसर तो ये है. ट्रू आंसर देखिए, फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल मैं ट्रूली गीता में बिलीव करता हूँ. एंड अनफॉर्चुनेटली ये सब चीज़ें थोड़ा बाद में जाके रियलाइज़ होती हैं, क्योंकि जब मेरे फादर मुझे बोलते थे तो थोड़ा लगता था कि यार थोड़ी हवा की बातें हैं. बट गीता तो यही कहती है ना कि अपने कर्म पे फोकस करो, फल अपने आप मिलेगा. एक्चुअली क्या है कि इफ़ यू आर चेजिंग एक्सीलेंस, इफ़ यू आर चेजिंग द राइट कॉज, तो उसका फल अपने आप मिलेगा. Now let's say you are running a company, you are running a educational institution, you are running a school. While running a school, am I focused on the upbringing of the children? And of course, my job is, देखिए हम बिजनेस करते हैं, बिजनेस को ग्रो कराना, बिजनेस में प्रॉफिट कमाना, ये मेरा धर्म है भाई. अदरवाइज फॉर व्हाट एम आई अर्निंग माई सैलरी? मैं भी एक आज कंपनी में आप मुझे ओनर कह सकते हैं, लेकिन मैंने आई एम एक्चुअली रनिंग द बिजनेस, आई एम रनिंग एज अ CEO फॉर विच आई एम गेटिंग अ सैलरी. एंड व्हेन आई एम गेटिंग माई सैलरी, माई धर्म इज टू मेक द बिजनेस ग्रो and to make the business continue to grow in profits also. But what is the way to get that profit and growth? That I think most of the CEOs of the world today, in fact, are chasing those numbers, which is the growth and the profit, and they are not worried about the means. Whereas Gita tells us कि जो आपका ग्रोथ और प्रॉफिट है वो एक लक्ष्य है. लक्ष्य तो आपको बनाना ही है. अदरवाइज आप ये समझिए कि आपको यहाँ से कनॉट प्लेस जाना है, राइट? एंड आपको यही नहीं पता, गाड़ी में बैठ गए कि मुझे जाना कहाँ है, तो वो तो बेकार है. आप गाड़ी कितनी अच्छी चलाते रहो, कर्म अच्छा करते रहो, आपके दिमाग में फल ही नहीं है तो आप कहीं भी पहुँच सकते हो. कनॉट प्लेस की जगह कहीं टिम्बकटू पहुँच जाओगे. तो आपको लक्ष्य पहले अपना डिसाइड ज़रूर करना है. लेकिन गाड़ी में चलाते हुए सारा टाइम कनॉट प्लेस ही सोचते रहोगे तो गाड़ी कैसे अच्छी चलेगी? तो गाड़ी चलाते हुए आपको ये ध्यान रखना है कि गाड़ी मेरे को परफेक्टली चलानी है, मेरे को कोई एक्सीडेंट नहीं करना, दूसरे का ध्यान रखना है. सिमिलरली लाइफ में या बिजनेस में भी हमेशा हमको अपने बिजनेस की एक्सीलेंस पे काम करना है. ग्रोथ और प्रॉफिट मेरा लक्ष्य है, बट आई कांट चेज ग्रोथ एंड प्रॉफिट ऑल द टाइम. आई हैव टू फोकस ऑन माई एक्सीलेंस. सपोज अगर मेरा सिर्फ प्रॉफिट ही मोटिव हो तो इट्स वेरी इजी टू से कि यार ऐसा करो, थोड़ा सा प्रोडक्ट के में ये वाला मटेरियल उसकी जगह ये वाला लगा दो. माई फोकस राइट नाउ इज टू गिव द बेस्ट प्रोडक्ट टू द बेस्ट कंज्यूमर, you know, and to ensure that every person in the organization is highly motivated to sell my product. My channel partners, I have more than 200,000 channel partners. They are highly motivated. So my focus 99% should be there. And if that is happening, my numbers will anyway come. So to answer your question, you know, when is enough? I am not focusing on that. I'm just focusing on this, and that keeps me going on a day-to-day basis. I come to work highly charged, highly motivated every day. If you are a principal of a school, if you are an owner of a school, you highly charged for doing something different on that day. अभी मैं इनके डॉक्टर बेदी को सुन के I was so mesmerized that how charged she is even at this age, right? And she is wanting to do something everywhere she went. Whether it was traffic police, whether it was jail, anywhere she went, she wanted to do something different. You heard Mr. Baman Irani in the morning. He's a very good friend. कहाँ से उठ के वो कहाँ पे गए? And it was just excellence. Whether it was photography, it was just excellence he was chasing. He was not chasing money. Money came. I don't know whether he shared that story जिसमें उन्होंने वो बॉक्सिंग की फोटोग्राफी करी थी, राइट? He was just chasing to get the best photographs. Money came and came and came and kept coming. He was not even chasing that money. So I think numbers and all very important for a businessman, for a person who is running a professional institute. That's your dharma. You have to be after that. But you can't be, you know, मतलब वो आपका जो कहते हैं ना, आपका फल आपको गाइड नहीं कर सकता, आपके कर्म ही आपको गाइड कर सकता है.
I'm going to ask you a little bit about.
सॉरी, अब मुझे लग रहा है कि लोग सोच रहे होंगे कि ये क्या स्पिरिचुअल बातें ज़्यादा कर रहे हैं.
No, sir, not at all. I think you'll get a lot of Q&A after this, I'm sure.
I'm sure. This and karam and dharam are very important for all of us also over here. So I think it's very important from a leadership skill point of view also. I wanted to ask you about, you know, in your vast experience as a business leader, you've come across so many different people, and especially, you know, young people that you may have encountered. I feel that there is still a skill gap, yeah, where there's something that we're teaching in schools. By the time they come and join the workforce, I've heard industry leaders talk about, you know, I still have to retrain those kids. So what is it that we as, you know, school leaders can think of doing that would help us bridge this gap so that the children are also prepared, and as business leaders you don't have to reinvest in doing that training?
See, first of all, I think, you know, the world has become very large in the sense that 30 years ago, 40 years ago, you know, the streams for people were science, medical or arts, right? And there were no other opportunities, and generally the brightest students used to go for medical, the less bright students used to go for engineering, and then even less brighter used to go for arts. I was in arts. But तो वो एक system बना हुआ था. But today the opportunities are huge. And hence, you know, today, if I find that I need certain kinds of engineering, you know, machine learning or artificial intelligence in my R&D institutes, today we find those skill gaps. It's possible, and all educational institutes can't provide everything, especially the grounding institutes like schools. They can't provide specialized training. I'm now involved with Ashoka University because of liberal arts, but also Plaksha University, which is teaching engineering in a very different way. It's focusing on the newer engineering courses. But the fact is, while we can keep complaining, industry will always find there will always be a skill gap. What I find, lacking a bit in our education today is creativity and innovation. Because that's not related to one particular field. Innovation can be in anything, marketing, engineering, R&D, everything, there can be innovation. But what is constraining is our education system. We need to open that up a little bit more. We need to make students think. And that is why, while we can keep cribbing about US education system, but the fact is that all big innovations are coming from the US. Because, there is respect for failure there. Yahan, in India, there is no respect for failure. In classes and schools and all that, वो जैसे ही उसके कुछ नंबर कमाते हैं वो तो डफर है. Those kind of things are so much there. And plus this whole objective system. Frankly, when we used to have the school examination paper, at least in our times, or maybe much more before that also, there was always a thinking when we used to write the exam कि सोचना पड़ता था कि अब क्या लिखें, क्या ऐसे लिखना है, किस तरह से मुझे आंसर को फ्रेम करना है. Today I have seen my children, get into good institutes, but the fact is they required 99%, 100% marks for those kind of things. But why? You cannot be right all the time. And जैसे 95% आते हैं तो वो 5 नंबर कहाँ गए? So I think that's where educational institutes, if not the education system, but at least in our schools we can promote more innovation and creative thinking.
Sir, how important is philanthropy? We keep hearing about it. How does it really work? And especially for a small and medium enterprise, or a smaller setup, how can they contribute towards this cause?
देखिए, I think we all keep reading that there is a big divide which is happening all across the world between the rich and the poor, and governments keep, because they want votes, governments keep saying that there should be this tax, that tax. The fact is that philanthropy is the only answer to bridge this gap. And people who are fortunate, everybody sitting in this room is a fortunate person because we've got good education, we are in good jobs, we have a shelter to live in. There should be a philanthropic mindset for everybody. And it's not only for institutions like corporates or for very rich people. It's for everybody that we can, in some way or the other, we can contribute. If you see, the biggest educational institutions in US came out of philanthropic funds. And this is not like Warren Buffett and Bill Gates of today, but Rockefellers of yesteryears also. They have come through philanthropic funds. So in my opinion, philanthropy is extremely important at every level. That is the only way to bridge the gap of the rich and the poor. This educational institution, Ashoka University, where I am involved with, it has come through the efforts of 120 philanthropists. It's not just one or two. And 3,000 crores have been collected by philanthropic funds. And I tell you, this will be a torchbearer in times to come. More and more such institutions will come. And, for educational institutions, even if you're running a school, आप ये सोचिए कि अगर suppose मैं इतना पैसा कमा रहा हूँ, इसका इतना portion, छोटा ही portion, if you start contributing towards philanthropy, it will start giving you, I'm telling you, again, maybe a little bit of a spiritual thought, that your profits will start increasing. If only for that purpose you start doing philanthropy. I have seen this. We started a midday meal program 20 years back, and we have seen the organization grow from then. पता नहीं कभी-कभी ऐसा लगता है कि शायद उसी की वजह है. ये तो सब thankfully आपने मुझे बुला दिया यहाँ बोलने को, पर contributor कोई और हो सकता है.
Sir, if you could expand on how we as educational institutions can collaborate with entrepreneurial ventures and see to make education a little more inclusive and impactful. If there's anything that you could suggest, we'd love to hear about that.
I think it is more for the industry to actually go out and be involved with educational institutions. I think we've also remained aloof.
Yes.
Educational institutions have also remained aloof because I think this is a trend which has to change. It has to be from both sides. We have to see value in collaborating with educational institutions. But I think this has to start. It has not started yet.
So one of the things that we've been discussing at the group level is how do we encourage internships, meaningful internships for our students, high school students. And I think the barrier that most of us face is that because the kids are minors, they don't get that meaningful an experience for their internship. So if there's anything you could shed light on that, do we need to advocate with the industry leaders, or how do we go about shifting that?
Good thought, but I'm not also sure that whether the industry will really look at it very positively, because right now, from the postgraduates, they've started looking at the undergraduates. Whether they can start looking at schools, I'm not sure. This is an idea to be developed, but frankly, it's a great idea because, when children at an early age, they start earning some money.
Yes.
During the summer holidays and all that. I remember my father used to encourage us कि चलो chemist shop में जाके कुछ थोड़ा salesmanship करो. तो summer holidays, man, we used to get that 10 rupees per day kind of a thing. We used to feel excited. That excitement, that learning, that ability to talk to customer, that was great. But today I don't even know whether the laws can allow that or not. But it's a great idea.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. And I think we'll be touching base with you to ask you more about this.
Sure.
Because we definitely want to try and make this happen for us.
So last question from my side. So what's the secret sauce?
Secret sauce तो मुझे भी नहीं पता है यार.
Could be anything, sir.
But look,
What is your daily routine like? And
you know what I asked Dr. Bedi, and she said love. That was one word she used. And again in Gita there is constant use of this word कि स्नेह और प्यार, प्रेम है अगर आपको तो, and प्रेम not in a normal language but प्रेम. So even if you have, like you're telling a child something, उसको डांट रहे हो आप अपने एम्प्लॉय को डांट रहे हो, लेकिन अंदर से अगर आपके प्रेम है तो वो एम्प्लॉय मतलब वो भी समझता है कि आप प्रेम से उसको डांट रहे हो क्योंकि आप उसकी अच्छाई चाहते हो, भला चाहते हो. बिकॉज आप सीईओ हो, आप मैनेजर हो, इसलिए आप डांट रहे हो, वो भी सब समझता है. तो
I hope all these guys are listening. A lot of my people डांट बहुत पड़ती है इनको.
तो टू लव, मतलब गीता तो ये कहती है कि टू लव एवरीवन, इवन वाइल कृष्ण यूज्ड टू से कि आप अर्जुन को जब बोले कि आप दुश्मन को भी जब मार रहे हो तो आपके लिए दिल में उसके लिए प्रेम होना चाहिए. तो अगर वो उस लेवल पे ना भी जाएं तो एटलीस्ट पीपल हु आर एसोसिएटेड विद अस, नॉट जस्ट माय फैमिली बट एवरी एम्प्लॉय ऑफ माइन, every channel partner of mine, every customer of mine, there might be millions of customers. I can't know every customer, I can't know every channel partner, but I should have the love for them inside कि whatever I will do, it is for their benefit, right? And if I make a quality product, it is for their benefit. I will not cheat my vendor, I will not cheat my channel partner, I will not cheat my customer, that because I love them. So I feel कि the moment you start feeling that love for at least people around you or people whom you are connected with or where you have an influence, you start feeling happy, things become easier for you. आपको कोई मैनिपुलेशन वगैरह करने की ज़रूरत नहीं पड़ती, कंपनी में पॉलिटिक्स करने की ज़रूरत नहीं पड़ती. द मोर यू आर ट्रांसपेरेंट, अगर कोई आपके पास आता है और कहता है कि उस आदमी ने ऐसा कर दिया वैसा कर दिया, उसको भी साथ ही बुला लो, राइट? हाँ यार वो अभी बात ये हो रही थी, तो सडन वो जो पॉलिटिक्स छोटी मोटी होती भी है वो भी खत्म हो जाती है, बिकॉज यू वांट, उसके लिए भी आप अच्छा सोचो, उसके लिए भी आप अच्छा सोचो. So I don't know whether it is a secret success, but secret sauce, but I just feel कि I try to keep things simple at home, in work. I don't work hard. I'm not a workaholic. I work. I come back home by 6 p.m. because I try to keep things simple, and it has worked. चल रहा है.
So thank you for that recipe. And with your permission, can we take some questions from the audience? Would anybody like to ask, sir?
यहाँ क्वेश्चन ज़्यादा नहीं आएंगे क्योंकि यहाँ जेल का कोई वो नहीं था. Yes, ma'am.
Sir, I would like to ask you that you have achieved success in multidimensional fields. At any time, do you think that, can you relate it to that specifically the school contributed to your success, in which areas? And vice versa. If you feel that you've achieved success and you wish that the school had taught you those things.
देखिए मैं तो बहुत शुक्रगुजार हूँ अपने हर एजुकेशनल इंस्टीट्यूशन का, स्पेशली स्कूल का, because that was my grounding period. I went to St. Xavier School in Delhi. The teachers were just awesome. मतलब ठीक है हम लोग मजाक भी उड़ाते होंगे कुछ टीचर्स का या, but really I learned a lot. I was loved by teachers a lot. Really my grounding, अब उसको कॉन्वेंट एजुकेशन कह लीजिए या मिशनरी स्कूल की एजुकेशन कह लीजिए या जस्ट दी you know, my learning entirely came from there. I went to Shri Ram College of Commerce. That changed me completely. From an all boys school to a co-ed, you know, it just opened my eyes to what inclusivity is all about, right? And Shri Ram College में जो confidence मिला मुझे, you know, from school to college, that just opened me. And when I went to the US, it was not like a Ivy League university. I went to Wake Forest University. It was not the Harvard or the Whartons. But just being those 2 years, being among so many nationalities, whether it was Chinese or Japanese or Americans or Turkish, and you know, कई बार हम लोग इंडिया में सोचते हैं we are great, but being part of that, I think if I had not gone to the US for those 2 years and to that institution, which was not a top institution, I don't think I would have been where I am today. So everything I would, of course, apart from my parents, everything I would give it back to my educational institutions. And that's why I want to be always associated with the educational institutions that I have. At least today, if I'm not, I'm on the board of Wake Forest University. I'm associated very closely with Shri Ram College, and I'm also on the board of Lady Shri Ram College, also on the board of Ashoka, and because I feel that everything that I have today is from my educational institutions. So everything to that. Yes, ma'am.
So, sir, so many people look up to you. So you have such a big company to run. They have a lot of expectations. But has it ever happened that your inner soul, your inner voice urges you to do things differently, but the people who look up to you have certain expectation and there's an inner conflict? So at those times, how do you resolve it and how do you tread the path? Thank you.
एक कॉन्फ्लिक्ट तो मेरा ये रहता है कि मुझे गाना बहुत पसंद है, गोल्फ खेलना बहुत पसंद है और वहाँ काम भी करना पड़ता है. तो खैर jokes apart, but on a day-to-day basis, you know, you are resolving conflicts regularly. And देखिए, the whole idea of a leader is actually to align objectives of everyone around you towards a common objective. It might not be right, because I am also learning on a day-to-day basis. Today, like in a family, you know, there is one leader who says कि भाई, this is how the family should run. But tomorrow, a child comes and says कि okay, this is somewhere, you know, we need a change around this, and to adapt to that, rather than constantly having a conflict within the family. I'm not saying that we have to keep, you know, adapting to that, but at least be open to that, and to ensure that the entire family is aligned with one value system. So the conflicts go away. The conflicts look, small at certain point of time. Now in work, day to day, every day, things come. So for example, there are certain things which people say, ये तो इंडिया में चलता ही है यार, ये corruption है, तो हमको business करना है, तो ये सब होगा ही. So certain times if it doesn't, go with my value system, it's best to stay away with that, from that, right? And say कि okay चलता है भाई, मेरे को क्या, but अगर मेरा business उसके बिना भी चल सकता है, तो I'll run my business like that. So that conflict you should not get into. कि भाई on a day-to-day basis you are constantly pushing your mind towards that. But every day, your employee wants something, and you feel that the organization needs to run in a different way. That ability to get into the minds of your people and ensure that they also believe in that value system, that's something either you change, you learn from them, or you have to convince them that this is the right thing for the organization. I always believe that there needs to be only one value system, one culture in the organization. There cannot be two cultures. In an institution, there cannot be two leaders. Similarly, in an institution, in a corporate, there cannot be two cultures also. I acquired a company in 2007, which was Sylvania. We were Havells in India, one country, one company. We acquired a company which was running in 50 countries. It was 1.5 times the size of Havells. And every company, every country had a culture also. आप ब्राज़ील में जाते हैं, आप जर्मनी में जाते हैं, every country had a different culture. So I used to go around everybody, and people said, this is our culture, that is our culture. I said, look, that's all fine. I am ready to respect your country culture. But there has to be only one company culture. So company cultures cannot be different. You, Nipun, I'm sure, you are running 100 schools, they're there. The culture in all those 100 schools have to remain same.
Same.
And it's great that you are doing these kind of conferences
We are working on it, sir.
where you're bringing in people and ensuring that people are following one culture. There cannot be a conflict in the culture. But yes, you are running a school in Meerut, you are running a school in Guwahati, things can be different. But it has to be a common company culture. Country culture can be different. I am ready to respect people I used to go to UK, वो कहते थे कि Friday evening, हम लोग तो कहते थे यार मीटिंग करते हैं कोई अभी Friday को, तो वो कहते थे नहीं Friday evening तो हमारा बार का टाइम होता है, पब में जाना है, बियर पीनी है, ये करना है, वो करना है, अच्छा चलो यार हम भी चलते हैं साथ में. So I am ready to respect your culture, but when it comes to work, it has to be done the way Havells culture works, and they also adapted. Believe me, we acquired the company in 2007. I'm sorry I'm sharing this story. In 2008, we went through a global financial crisis. The world went through a global financial crisis. And all the assumptions that we made, they were all gone. The company which was profitable started making huge losses. The losses to the kind of where Havells could have also gone, down. So we ensured, we went around, we restructured the organization, we made the company profitable back again within 1.5 years. That was the fastest that a company was turned around. All the acquisitions which happened during that time, Tata Chorus and Jaguar Land Rover and all that, we were the fastest to turn the company around. There were 50 countries, each country became profitable. We had only 3 managers from India. Not that we had 50 managers going out of India, and all the people, they made those restructuring decisions. We did not even lose, and we had to remove almost 1/3 of the manpower because the company had to survive. Out of 2,400 people, after the restructuring, only 1,500 people were left. This was painful for us, but this was required. जब कुरुक्षेत्र का युद्ध लड़ना होगा तो लोग मरेंगे, but धर्म के लिए वो भी right है. So to survive the company, we had to restructure the organization, and believe me, not even one day of work was lost. There was no strike. All 1,600 people were paid in full. Full transparency was, with full transparency, everything was discussed with them, and they respected the decision of the organization. So what I'm saying is the company culture of transparency, honesty, fairness to the employees, that trickled through all the 50 countries. That's the company culture. That cannot be run by the country head. उस टाइम पे कंपनी कल्चर बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट हो जाता है, कंट्री कल्चर नहीं. So I don't know, maybe a long answer to your short question about conflict, but to resolve conflict, culture has to be common.
We have a question from our Executive Director, Radhika ma'am.
So the question is talking about company culture, which is really inherent to everyone sitting in this room. But what are some of the great HR practices that you have implemented that you've seen very successful, or some that might have failed for you?
And if you were a principal at a school, what innovative HR practices would you give out or suggest?
देखिए मैं तो पहली बार प्रिंसिपल नहीं हूँ और
I'm sure
again
it's
as a person who is running the organization, HR means human resource development, right? A lot of times HR becomes more like policies, personnel policies कि हमको छुट्टी कितनी होनी चाहिए, ये कितना होना चाहिए, PF कितना होना चाहिए. But if the focus is actually development of people, that's HRD, human resource development, we forget development word. And the whole idea in any company or a culture or a school or, it should be about development of people. And you can only develop people when you love the people. If you love your people, then only you can think about their development. Now, there will be company policies. I'm not saying that just because you love your people, आप उनकी salary कल double कर दोगे. वो तो नहीं कर सकते, because you are running a dharma, you are running an institution. वो आप उसको growth देना, उसको profit देना भी आपका धर्म है. लेकिन फिर भी उन सब policies के अंतर्गत भी you can still love your people. You only focus on the development of people. How much time do we spend with people? I'm not even talking about, आजकल practices तो बहुत हैं, आप उनको courses करवा सकते हैं, trainings दे सकते हैं, which is all required. That's all vocational. But do we really spend time with people? Do we, as principals, do we call our, let's say staff and teachers and discuss with them? For them, what is important? Development of students. Do we really discuss those things with them? So I think, in my opinion, अगर मैं प्रिंसिपल हूँगा तो मेरी तो इसी तरह की मीटिंग्स, कल्चरल मीटिंग्स बहुत चलती रहेंगी मेरे रूम में. मैं मॉर्निंग में इन माय ऑफिस, people would think that I am a busy person. I don't have any work. My only work is to talk to people. And every day I call what I call is a morning panchayat. All my top teams, we are just discussing chai ke upar, we discuss people, strategies, business. ऐसा लगता है 2 घंटे में सारा business discuss हो जाता है. That's called our morning panchayat. And decisions भी उसमें हो जाते हैं. उसके बाद I am free. I can go and play golf also. But I don't do that on a weekday. But reality mein. So, spending time with your people, I think that's the best motivator for your own people. That also develops them.
So I think we can confidently say that we do feel the love from our management, don't we? Yes, we feel the love. We absolutely do. Thank you so much.
So yes.
I think there's one more question. Rita,
Sir,
last question, please.
when a person does not inherit success and makes it himself, and he wants to give all to his children, he feels very insecure that his
Sorry, can you repeat? What?
When a person does not inherit success and makes it on his own, and he does want to give a lot to his children, because he's been through this journey, he also wants his children to be successful, but he's always insecure that children may go awry because they've received a lot. Now, in your case, your father did not inherit success but passed it on to you. How is it that in your family, in your house, it was ensured that you also become a very successful man later?
I'm still wanting to know कि whether I'm successful or not, at least in my father's eyes,
Yes.
because you know, parents को हमेशा ये लगता है कि अभी इसको बहुत सीखना है, तो उनके लिए कभी बच्चे fully successful नहीं होते. But no, I think again it boils down to values. You know, first of all, I think in my family, education was very important. Look, my father and mother came from very small towns in Punjab. My father had not completed 10th. My mother got married when she had just finished 8th. They were bright students, but they never completed their education. For them, it became very important that their children, you know, should go to good schools, get the right education, at least on the schooling part. But at home, their education, for example, you know, at dinner tables, lunch table, breakfast time, there was always discussion about values. कि क्या सही है, क्या गलत है, किस तरह की चीज़ें होनी चाहिए. And I used to watch my father always on the phone उस time, जो mobile phones तो नहीं होते थे, क्योंकि सुबह शाम ही मेहनत करते थे, phones पे बात करना. So we used to learn a lot. So it's all imbibing from your parents. And I think, you know, what is important is, by that time we were a middle class family, you know, when we were growing up. But I think your question is more pertinent today. For example, my children. And can I pass on those? And this was the biggest challenge for me and my wife. Can I pass similar values which we got from our parents to our children? You know, given, let's say, a little bit of abundance of wealth.
Yes.
And can we pass on that?
The
I
balance.
feel today my children are now 28 and 26. I feel that we have done a decent job of that. And because thankfully my grandparents used to live in the same house. So that also makes a huge difference. You know, it keeps us grounded.
Yes.
As parents, it keeps us grounded. And secondly, you know, children also, between husband and wife, there should always be, you know, right discussion. How you want to grow up your children? How do you want to bring up your children? So at least, you know, I'm confident that we've passed on the right values to our children. So whether they'll be successful or not, अभी उन्होंने जो एक slide दिखाई थी, whether they'll be successful in work or not, hopefully they will be with the right set of values. But they will be good citizens and good human beings.
Yes.
That's what we want.
That's wonderful.
That's very important. Thank you, sir.
That I'm confident about because what I see in them. But you know, success, all वो तो ऊपर वाले की कृपा होती है.
Thank you so much, sir. I now request one. Okay, please. I know the gentleman's been.
Hello, sir. My name is Aman Gupta, and I teach business studies at my school. So first of all, I would like to thank you because after this session, I'm going to discuss a lot of points with my students so that I can share my experience with them and help them in learning process. So, sir, just one question from you. What is your idea about globalization, and does your company take it as a challenge or an opportunity? Thank you.
बड़ा अच्छा क्वेश्चन पूछा है. देखियो, जब मैंने आपको बताया कि 2000 में when India had opened up and you know we were actually under, उस टाइम आपको याद होगा, आपने किताब पढ़ी होगी, थॉमस फ्रीडमैन की थी, The World is Flat, right? And everything was opening up. China से इतना material आता था. So we were really scared of globalization, but we stood up to it. And today, if you see, all the countries are moving towards anti-globalization, right? We are closing our doors. America is closing their doors. China is looking to see कि भाई हम export कहाँ करें. They are looking at more inwards. So every country, because of political reasons, are becoming inward looking. You know, it helps them politically. As today, if you see, Donald Trump has come to power because by saying कि I will close China, I will close this, I will close that. So we are moving towards the opposite of the world is flat. I feel that it is not the right way. We move towards full globalization very fast. It could have been a little bit more calibrated approach, but the way we are going back is also not right. think about the inflationary pressures which will happen now in the US or in India, because if we completely close our borders, it will have inflationary pressures. And who will it, impact? The citizens of the country.
Common man.
I can guarantee if you see, sorry, I'm again more economic in this answer, but if you see US, their inflation rates will go up as soon as Trump comes to power. He may be good for the business of that country, but may not be very good for the citizens for the country. But he's playing on these sentiments of the citizens of the country, ki anti-China, anti-China. UK, they closed themselves by doing this Brexit. UK is in deep trouble right now. They were part of EU, now they are in deep trouble. So I'm pro globalization, but it can be done more calibrated in a calibrated way. The way India opened up in 91 also, that was a very fast approach. We were not ready for that. But it was great for India. India opened up. Suddenly some industries got impacted. But that was, some कुछ अच्छे के लिए कभी-कभी कुछ खराब भी होता है. लेकिन but at least, world should be more global today what we have. So don't be anti-world is flat in your business studies. Think about globalization as a positive thing.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
So, ma'am, my last question I would like to ask. Here.
Ma'am, we are...
Right here. Sorry.
Ma'am, maybe please...
नहीं, I'm enjoying these
Bharti
questions
ma'am
because I never thought कि मुझसे ऐसे questions पूछे जाएंगे.
I'm going to ask you a last question more from an education perspective. I meet a lot of educators across the country, and I come from the industry side. We are seeing children passing out from schools, colleges, and we usually observe skill gaps. We're seeing that, today's youth is not really skilled enough for the jobs that are available. The nature of the jobs are changing themselves. We don't have visibility of what jobs are going to look like 5 years down the line. What is it that the school should really do to make sure that they empower their learners to adapt to this dynamic and changing environment? I'm asking you this question as industry. You're somebody who recruits, who looks at people. What is your perspective, and how would you like to suggest to schools to bring about this change?
I think, she also raised this thing. I would again repeat that it's important for schools and educational institutions to become more holistic in the education system, to create more creativity, to promote more creativity and innovation, because it becomes very difficult to pinpoint all the skills required for corporates. But if the minds are open, and I think I was saying earlier also that unfortunately our education systems are closing the minds. We need to open up the minds of students. So in whatever situations they get into, they would have the learning ability to adapt themselves. Let's say, a science student goes into a job of artificial engineering, right? It's easy to learn that within a few months, but mind should be open. I think creativity and innovation is something that can be promoted far more in educational institutions.
Thank you, sir. So we've already had 2 last questions, but we have one final question from sir.
Thank you. Sir, just, I see brands these days are trying to leverage their brand to, if they're good in cables, they're trying to sell the entire range of home appliances and everything. Something I think Havells has been doing for more than a decade. So I would say that Havells was the first mover, and everyone is, trying to now replicate this success. So, I mean, being the first mover, I was just wondering where the inspiration came from. Was it a one-man decision? Was it like a team decision? And, I would say at the time, because it hadn't been done before, it was a fairly risky move, maybe, I'm not sure. But so I was just wondering how that thought process came along, that, we're good at this, so our brand is strong, and let's just try and make the most of it and, go for the entire plethora of products.
You have 5 minutes if I can answer this question. I hope it doesn't become boring for you. It doesn't become... So have you, how many of you have seen some of Havells ads? एक बहुत साल पहले एक आता था शॉक लगा circuit breakers. एक Havells buyers that don't catch fire. वो जो चिमटे वाला. I'm happy that, all of you remember that because, to answer your question, these ads came in the year 2007, around 2006-7. And at that time, I was mentioning that we were a switchgear company. And there was a worry that if we don't grow big, we may be left behind. Because multinational companies were very big, we needed the financial strength. So if we don't grow big, how do we grow big? What is our strength? We realized that our strength at that time was not technology. At that time was not high-scale manufacturing. But our strength was brand, that people respected our brand. Consumers didn't know our brand. In 2005-06, regular consumers didn't know our brand. हाँ, कोई इलेक्ट्रिकल शॉप में जाते थे, अगर वो कहते थे हमको MCB खरीदना है तो बोलते थे चलो हैवेल्स ले जाओ आप. शॉपकीपर बताता था, ये इलेक्ट्रिशियन बताता था. By the time when we started, getting into high-scale manufacturing, high-quality manufacturing, our own R&D, then we said, कि यार ये multinationals people are coming and these electricians now, because imported अच्छा होता है, दिमाग में ये रहता है, so they started promoting those kind of products. Then we said it's important for us to go directly to the consumer. Forget about, electricians and retailers and consultants. We need to go directly to the consumer. If consumer respects us, they know our quality, then we'll be okay. So what did we do? Miniature circuit breaker, which is shock laga jo ad tha. Miniature circuit breaker, I researched, was never advertised on prime time television anywhere in the world. Forget about India. All these Schneiders, ABBs and all these large companies, they had never advertised. And we said we'll advertise it like Colgate. We'll advertise it like Hero Honda. At that time, every day news advertisements used to come. So what did we need for that? We needed budget. Right? At that time, I remember our annual advertising budget was 20 crores. And I went to my father and I said, look, this is the thing that, what do we do? He says, you'll have to increase the budget. So my father said, how much do you think if we go for national advertising, how much money will we need? I said 80 crores. So from 20 crores to 80 crores. At that time, my profit might be, let's say, 100 crores. And he says, done, we should do it. So in 1 year, we increased our advertising budget by 4 times. And we went to prime time cricket. उस टाइम जो IPL 2008 में, if you remember, शुरू हुआ था, तो we were all over shock laga, wires that don't catch fire. So what I want to say is sometimes you need bold decisions, very bold decisions, very courageous decisions. What did it mean? कि उस साल का 100 crore का profit शायद 20 crore रह जाएगा, because we'll be spending 80 crores on that. But it will create a future for us. Then we said if we need growth, if we have a strong brand, if we have a very loyal dealer channel, हम लोग क्या था कि हमारे पास 1000 उस टाइम डीलर्स होते थे. We used to treat them like family, not like कि transaction मैंने माल बेचा तुम अपने customer को बेचो. We used to treat them like family. My father knew each and every dealer personally. I still know most of the dealers personally. I travel all across the country. I know them family-wise. I know their names. And we treated them like family. And they said, if you give us a product, you give us fans, we'll sell your fans. We'll not sell Crompton fans. You give us, but please ensure you give us the right quality. You give us lighting, we will not sell Philips, we will sell Havells lighting. Based on that strength and the brand strength, we added more product categories. But the difference, like you said, many companies are now doing that. अब वो देखते हैं कि Havells के पास 25 businesses हैं. वो appliances भी हैं, water heaters भी हैं, air conditioners भी हैं. So every company started doing that. They started going to manufacturers कि भाई हमको भी अपना brand लगाना है और हम अपने brand में बेचेंगे. But it cannot be so. You cannot fool the customer. Customer should be buying the best quality product. So where did Havells invest all the profits that came in? In our own R&D, in our own manufacturing. Today we manufacture everything on our own in world-class plants and we develop everything. All the other companies, they focus only on their brand and channel. and that's why they are not successful. Contract manufacturing. So what I'm trying to say is you need to know your strengths, one, and you need to back it up with resources. Without backing up with resources, things will fail over a longer period of time. So today we run 25 businesses. We have 25 different factories to produce those products. We have 25 R&D teams, and we have 25 sales teams. So tomorrow if he is making a school, right, our lighting team representative will come for selling lighting. Our fans representative will come for selling fans. They will not say कि चलो मैं Havells से आया हूँ आप lighting भी दे दो आप. Tomorrow he'll ask this question, इसमें lumen output कितना है? वो fans वाले को तो पता भी नहीं होगा ना. So you have to back it up with the right resources.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.